Our next speaker is a journalism trained writer, currently practicing PR with corporate brands and social businesses. He is a fellow of FK Norway's Environmental Communication Exchange Project in Asia and UP College of Mass Communications Lopez Haina Community Journalism Workshop, Science Journalism. His reporting on the Philippine Eagle has been recognized by Foundation for the Philippine Environment. Our speaker Global Shapers community, where he leads and collaborates projects on the environment and sustainability. He continues to write stories for Mindanao Times and the Philippine Daily Inquirer. Friends, ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Sir Jesse Boga Madriaga.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Hi, I'm very happy to be here. Thank you, Attorney Fell, for that introduction. The Global Shapers Community Davao Hub is very happy to be a part of this DTI consumer education webinar. So I'm gonna start sharing my screen. Mm. So right away, I'm going to jump right into asking you this question, and the question is, okay, here you go. The question is, I want you to take a look at your clothes and maybe your jacket that's on your desk or your chair, and I want you to ask yourself, who made my clothes? It's a question that's um, it's not always in the everyday that we get to talk about it or think about it. But I hope that in the next 15 minutes or so, we get to change the way we think about fashion through this conversation. So this is your guide to sustainable fashion. This guide is based on a global effort called Shaping Fashion, and you can be a part of it by being a responsible consumer and by rethinking the way we consume fashion. So in the next few minutes, these are the questions that we hope to answer and reflect on. And so what is sustainable fashion? Why does this matter to me? And how do we reimagine fashion as the force for good? Before I continue, I want to introduce myself. I'm Jesse. I'm the head curator of a civic org called the Global Shapers Davao Hub, and we are operating under a bigger community called the Global Shapers Community. So we are a network of young people initiated by the World Economic Forum. So we follow a hub-based structure that brings the agenda and grassroots of the World Economic Forum through local conversations and projects. And the shaping fashion effort is one of them. So here in Davao City, you can see us. Those are my fellow shapers. We are young people from different from different backgrounds, and every member carries different advocacies for everyone to learn about and work on. So these include environment, sustainability, social entrepreneurship, health, and inclusion, and we drive dialogue, action, and change through collaboration and partnership. So, but I want you to know us as your friendly folks who are passionate about making big change through small actions. And this is me and my partner in shaping fashion, Yana. So Yana is a creative, and she's with us today in the audience. And she's a creative and the social entrepreneur behind En Route Handcrafted. So through her social business, she empowers women in Filipino communities to become artists and entrepreneurs through sustainable fashion. So what we do together for the past few years is we have been contributing to the global effort and discussions on sustainable fashion. And we did this by creating a platform that brings people together for workshops, talks, discussions, and pop-up shops. And we'll learn more about that in a bit. So this is fashion at a glance. This is a image of fashion that we always see as consumers every day. So you have all of these nice clothes, and then we talk. There's the image of a fashion model, and us, the consumer end of fashion. But there's a long journey that fashion takes before they reach us, and allow me to take you through that journey. So let's take a common T-shirt for example. So annually, there are as much as 2 billion T-shirts sold and bought around the world. But the very source of a T-shirt is a farm where the cotton seeds are sown, irrigated, and grown for their puffs. So from there, industrial processes take place. So these include the use of large amounts of water and fertilizers and carcinogenic insecticides and pesticides. So you can see in the image that you can see here in the image that it's an agriculture. It all begins with agriculture. So the process itself is also harmful to people and surrounding ecosystems. And we're just getting started. So from the farm, um, the cotton is shipped to factories where these are turned into yarns, and yarns are further weaved into fabrics treated with chemicals until they turn soft and white. So they are bleached and then they are dyed. So it's a very resource intensive process because these involves chemicals that even cause cancer like cadmium, lead, and mercury. And then apart from that, these are the waste from producing fashion is also released into waterways, and that in turn pollutes the environment. So after the fabrics are produced in factories, human labor is required to stitch these into t-shirts because machines can't do that yet. Human hands are still required to produce the very garments that we wear. So for example, you can see the image that there's a collapsed building. Um, that's in Bangladesh. Bangladesh is the biggest exporter of cotton T-shirt and employs more than 4 million people in the industry. And it's a very unfortunate to know. It's, they work in very unfortunate working environments because these workers face harassment. They're not paid minimum wage, a living wage. So the biggest story the in fashion is involves the collapse of a factory, a building called Rana Plaza. So it houses multiple factories that serves Western brands. And on April 24, 2013, that building collapsed and killed over 1,000 workers. So there's a really big chance that the clothes that you are wearing right now, if you buy from Western brands, are produced in or was produced in Rana Plaza. So from the garment factories, the goods are then sent to high income countries and to other outlets where these are sold and reach consumers. So there's also the logistics part of fashion that gives it that gives it an enormous carbon footprint. So that that leads us to this fact that clothing production amounts for 10% of global carbon emissions. And of course, the public's willingness to buy cheap clothes boosts global production, and that number continues to increase up to 80 billion garments per year. So it's a very long process, and let's take a break and drink some water. But we're not gonna drink a lot of water. We're just gonna drink a glass. But a T-shirt, on the other hand, consumes a lot of water, and it takes 2,700 liters of water to make a T-shirt. So that's the amount that we drink normally over a three-year period. I'm literally gonna drink water because my throat feels funny. So let's continue with the cotton T-shirt journey. When cotton t-shirt reaches the consumer's hands, fashion continues to be very resource intensive because if we break down the wash and wear process, we can see that, for example, laundry uses gallons of water, washing machines and dryers use extensive amounts of power. So this long journey illustrates the elaborate process in making our clothes and the continued and sustained resources needed to um for us to keep wearing them. So who would have thought that something so simple as a t-shirt would involve this much resources and people? So I want to go back to the question that I posed earlier, and it's who made my clothes? On a bigger scale, um, for us to appreciate the sustainable fashion even more, this is a fashion at a glance. So you have the human side of fashion. There's um our garment workers face forced labor, discrimination, harassments, and there's also the talk of eroding heritage, where mass production is literally overshadowing parang small businesses and cultural practices such as weaving, beading, and then there's fashion's environmental impact that involves toxic chemicals, the use of pesticides, landfill waste, and landfill waste. So um, whenever we shop for clothes, there's an image here on Halloween, and have you ever thought about uh, how often you get to wear your clothes before you get rid of them? There's always people always talk about single-use plastics, but nobody talks about single-use clothes. So that's something for us to think about, especially during these seasons and times of the year. On a global scale, we can also see that fashion is closely linked to our planet, and the Anthropocene, an unofficial unit of geological time, illustrates that. So we are living in an era where our actions are causing so much drastic changes to the environment that it literally creates mark. So to put it simply, our collective and dominant influence every day through consumer and economic activities are literally changing our climate and the environment. So this is the best description of the recent period in Earth's history, that is the Anthropocene. So it started in during the Industrial Revolution, where we have all of these advancements that rapidly change the way things are being manufactured, such as we have the steam engine, you have all of these mass production technologies, and also the digital technologies. So there are two drivers that that further advance the Anthropocene. So it's number one, our energy production, and number two, our resource consumption. So we can it was earlier mentioned that we have all of these energy production means that are not sustainable and renewable, such as the use of coal, oil, and natural gas that emits greenhouse gases and cause global warming. Um, in addition to that, our growing populations and the needs of people for resources have grown immensely and beyond the capacity of Earth to regenerate them. So we can see this snapshot with an idea that is proposed by a group of scientists. It's gonna get a little sign. It's gonna get a little sign C from here, but I want you to bear with me. So they propose an idea called the planetary boundaries. So, according to Johan Rockstrom of the Stockholm Resilience Center, we only have 50 years to make changes needed to ensure that the future of our planet is livable for the generations to come. So, this idea carefully illustrates the changes happening to the Earth systems. There are 9 planetary boundaries, and these define the safe operating spaces for all of us. What this basically says, is, according to Dr. Rosie Willett, the sustainability coordinator for the London College of Fashion, is that this concept allows us to understand sustainability in a wider concept. It's a snapshot of the earth, without having to be a scientist. So it tells us in the very simplest terms what's the impact of chemicals and new materials, how big is the ozone, what is the limit of air pollution, the acidification of oceans, where carbon dioxide makes it difficult for marine life to form exoskeletons and shells. You have the eutrophication of ecosystems, where there's an imbalance of chemicals in the sea, and then make it difficult for marine life to thrive. And then there's also freshwater use, land and forest destruction, climate change, and how much biodiversity loss we can afford. To put it simply, imagine that your house has nine important systems. So you have plumbing, water, you have a roof, you have air conditioning, or let's say you have insecticides that keep you from being bitten by mosquitoes. You have Wi-Fi, you have lights. So according to the scientists, the planetary boundaries um, make it habitable for our planet to make our planet habitable and conducive to living. However, of the nine planetary boundaries, four have been compromised. Imagine your house without a roof, a ceiling, water, and electricity. Will that be a conducive place for you to live in? So that is the situation right now. So that's really a lot taken, and I know you're wondering why we're talking about that, because we're just supposed to be just talking about fashion, but fashion, being a resource intensive system, continues to contribute to these drastic changes that are happening around us. And fashion is a critical consideration in the discussion of climate change and the environment, because number one, it's a basic human need. We all need clothes for us to be protected, for us to express ourselves, and um, this fashion is a basic human need, and it needs to be reimagined by all of its consumers and producers. So it will take all of us to turn things around. Um, as earlier mentioned, no, the scientist Rockstrom said that we have 50 years to take action. That is a critical period for us to turn the tables, so that we can still live in what we call a safe operating space. So here we can see some facts about fashion, that buying one new white cotton shirt produces the same emission as driving a car for 35 miles. And there's the production of fashion then that requires 200 tons of water. And then we can also see that our consumption has really doubled in the in has doubled in the past 15 years. Our role as consumers is to promote the responsible and equal use of natural resources, and this can be reflected in the simple yet powerful ways that we consume fashion. So I hope that gives us a the bigger picture as to why our as to why the way we consume fashion really matters. So let's define sustainable fashion. It's simply based on the idea that we don't want fashion to cost our planet, and it's basically a movement that is geared toward creating change in the way we produce and consume fashion. So it reimagines fashion as a force for good and cares for our planet and our people. So this is all based in um, the idea of sustainability. So sustainability is a really big word, but it doesn't have to be unrelatable or technical. It all comes down to making informed decisions and informed and inclusive decisions every day. And those decisions have to put the least detriment in the environment and on our limited natural resources, and not leaving anyone behind, including the generations to come. So this figure illustrates the three pillars of sustainability and helps us gain a firm grasp of the definition of sustainability, which can often vary. So people say that sustainability is the culmination of equitable, viable, and bearable conditions, the living in harmony with natural world and protecting it from damage. And in the simplest way, it's really putting equal value on people, planet, and the economy. So why does sustainable fashion matter? Because it's ingrained in our global goals. We have all agreed to this, that if you want a better place for everyone, we have to work on the goals that were set, um, our global goals that includes responsible consumption, climate action, and decent work and economic growth. As consumers, we have to think about responsible consumption and our collective impact on the environment. And fashion producers, designers, also they have their catalysts to economic growth and providing decent work for people and supporting the economy. So here we see that there's truly power in our purchases, and we have to make each purchase matter. This includes the journey from wearing to caring. So Professor Dilys Williams, of the Director of Center for Sustainable Fashion in the London College of Fashion, said, the real beauty of fashion has to come through a deeper understanding of the elements that make up the fashion system that we are a part of. So, and we can see this when you look at the story of our clothes, as we did earlier in the talk. This is the current fashion conversation that we are always engaged with. So you have all the sales, the shopping, the hauls, the binge impulse buys, and what they call retail therapy. And there's also like this image of status and aspiration. But I think that's really nice that fashion provides us our wants, needs, and gratifies us to an extent. But I also love to shop. I like to go to stores to buy clothes that look good on me. But at the same time, I think it's important for us consumers to not forget the social and environmental dimensions of fashion, because all of these relate to sustainability and our well-being. And if you want to practice sustainability, we have to keep this in mind, that fashion doesn't end in shopping, in the experience of shopping or in buying clothes, putting on clothes. We are all part of a long journey. So let me just switch to the next slide. Oh no. Okay. So I will before that's sustainable fashion, and I just want to share the shaping fashion journey that we did in the Global Shapers Davao community in partnership with Fashion Revolution. It's the largest global movement in fashion in sustainable fashion that's based in the UK. So it's basically we basically want people to reimagine fashion as a force for good. Na dili ra siya ka ng gwapa-gwapa. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. There's, as you said, there's a deeper understanding required to appreciate fashion even more. So for the Shaping Fashion efforts, it has been quite a journey. So Shaping Fashion is a global initiative that scales the efforts on sustainable fashion through the World Economic Forum Global Shapers Network around the world. So here in the Philippines, there are 4 hubs. There's Manila, Iloilo, Cebu, and Davao. And all around the world in cities, there are global shapers hubs where there are people like me who are also passionate about sustainability and the environment. So we started in 2017 with the Public Forum on Sustainability. So you can see that here. We invited fashion makers and community partners to talk about their story and how they partnered with artisans and in an effort to contribute to cultural heritage preservation. And then in 2008, we mounted an ambitious event, a fair that brought together scientists, educators, artisans, and designers for a series of talks, workshops, and pop-up shops. So it's one of the really best I had a really good time doing this, especially with a partner as creative and as smart as Yana. Um, so here we can see some of the demos, the talks that were done during this activity, this 2 day activity. We invited our partners from Sasotonawa. They're a fashion brand from Lake Cebu, and then they shared their story about how the long process in making brass accessories. And then you also had our friends from Hilya who talked about modest fashion. So we can see that there are really different dimensions to fashion that we have an opportunity to learn about. So we like this Unstitched, guided by the Fashion Revolution agenda, was happening ahead of Davao. So we guided fashion consumers and sustainability advocates to rethink fashion in many ways. So from taking care of the clothes that are already present in our closets to creating and sustaining fair business practices that empower and provide livelihood to Mindanao artisans and workers. And of course, science and entrepreneurship also play critical roles to sustainable fashion. So that's why our friends from DOST were also there. So this is amazing. Who showed us how to ups spruce up an old jacket so you can enjoy fashion without buying new things. That's an old denim jacket that she has, and she just recreated it, turned it into a piece of art. It's really amazing. And our education partners from the Philippine Women's College of Davao, Sir Emmy English, is instrumental to our the success of Unstitch because he was able to scale the knowledge and experiences to his students who are who are future fashion designers. So where are we right now? This is an important question. Why does sustainable fashion remain important? And why should we remain conscious of our fashion habits, from wearing to to washing? Um, my partner Yana said that we should remain conscious of our fashion habits, especially in this pandemic, because more than ever, there's power in our purchase, and every purchase matters. Where you're giving your money to matters, and it can support a struggling business to an artisan. Also, like reducing there's also the environmental side of it, where reducing your environmental impact goes a long way. So it's during these times when masks are a requirement in following safety protocols, we can make better choices by opting for masks that are appropriate in our lifestyle. It's very simple. According to our to the doctor in our hub, Dr. Gel Guadalupe, um, your mask of choice will really depend on your level of risk and exposure to people. For example, single-use masks like the are not a sustainable option, especially if you don't frequent high-risk environments like hospitals. So for me, as a normal consumer who doesn't frequent hospitals, or I don't have to use single-use masks. But if and if you're not immunocompromised, you don't have to wear single-use masks. There's always a better option, and it's really the use of cloth masks that we can use every day, especially with filters. And of course, masks aren't the silver bullet when it comes to following safety these days. So you have hand sanitizing, social distancing. So here are some of tips to make sustainable fashion a part of your lifestyle. There's no single way to practice sustainability in fashion, but if millions of us do all of this imperfectly, that is going to change things around. So number one, it's very simple. We ask who made my clothes. You can post this on social media. You can ask your favorite brands, and you by doing this, you demand more transparency from them so that they can take action and ensure that the people who make the clothes that we wear are living well, being paid well, and are working in conducive um, working environments. Number two, assess your closet. So know and treasure what you own. I really like this because it teaches me to love my clothes like I love my friends. I know it's kind of over the top, but um I have a jacket from 2013 that I still wear to this day, and I take care of it. And I'm sure you have a piece of garment that you also treat the same way. So assess your closet and know and treasure what you own. Number three is wash smart. I think we Filipinos already do this because we like to hand wash. We take advantage of the heat when we line dry our clothes. So how tamang laba, that is ingrained in our lifestyle, and we're already doing well in this part. But of course, for some of us who cannot hand wash and have to deal with loads of laundry, you can choose uh, better options when you're programming the washing machine. So wash cool, use eco detergent, and still air dry. Number four is upcycle, repair, and share, and make each piece last. So I think that pretty much is self-explanatory, but I want to go further by saying that you have to build good relationship with your local mananahe because they're the ones who can um, help you appreciate the clothes that you have. And of course, I think a misconception in sustainable fashion is you have to keep on buying green brands or sustainable brands. But the better an option really is to shop less and buy well, because when you buy secondhand ethical organic items, make sure that you love them and that they will last. There's no perfect fit to all of this, so but when we take care of our clothes, we reduce our carbon footprint and we honor the hands of the people who make our clothes, and we honor the resources used to produce our clothes. There's so many ways for us to practice sustainable fashion in our everyday. So you have, if you buy, sige, you buy high quality and timeless designs. If you buy, you go to the ukay ukay, or you swap with a friend, or you buy less, or you buy a made to order that you order a made to order piece that you know you will wear for a long time, or you rent, or you upcycle, or you opt for fair brands. So because the most sustainable garment in is already in your wardrobe. And finally, if you must buy, here are some questions, guide questions that you can ask yourself. So there are 11. You can go through them one by one if you like, but I really like this part. Will this last 30 plus washes? So many of my friends, even Yana also taught me that when you buy something, um, you can compute the number of times you will wear it, and that is what they call a cost per wear. So if I bought a jacket for 2,000 pesos and I've had it for many years now, nakatipid ako. I saved a lot. So the question really is it timeless, and will I still want to wear this next week, next month, next year? So the conversation on fashion and sustainability is yet to become mainstream. But if we rethink fashion as more than just style in the shopping that we see, we will hear more voices that will change the way we dress forever. So that concludes my talk, and I really appreciate that you spent time with us this afternoon. Global Shapers is in Facebook. Follow us, Global Shapers Davao Hub. Thank you.